All right, hello and welcome everyone to Weekend Rental, your gaming and geek culture podcast. This is episode 57. As always, you can find us on YouTube, Google Play, iTunes, and Geekade. Whether it's gaming, movies, comics, you'll find it all, articles, podcasts, more at Geekade. What's your geek? My name is Ryan, and as always, I'm joined by Andy.
Hey.
And Nate.
What's going on, guys?
All right. Let's kick it off with our opening segment. So if you're new to the podcast, what we do is we open with the segment called Buy, Rent, Burn. We all pick a game for a given system. The system this go-around is the Super Nintendo. We'll all play these games and then give our opinions on which ones we would personally buy, rent, or burn. But before we get into our picks, I just want to stop and big shout out and thank you to listener and friend of the podcast, Brandon, who on our last episode we were talking about, I wonder what the stats are, because Nate always feels like he's been slighted and has more of his games burnt.
That's very true.
And then we said, well, we should figure out what that percentage is, and then quickly thought, no, none of us will do that, we're all too lazy, but someone else can do it. Not thinking someone else would do it, but Brandon took it upon himself, which we appreciate. So if anyone is interested, I think we're all surprised to find that it's actually a tie. Since Nate has joined the podcast, each of us have had 8 buys each. And then he went on to elaborate that if you count a buy as 1, a rent is 2, and a burn is 3, Ryan has the highest average with 1.7, Nate is a 2.1, and Andy is taking up the rear with 2.2. And he also pointed out, just to rub salt in my wound, that Snood was the only game that I've had burned, and I freaking love Snood, and it makes me sad that you guys burned it. So
yeah, that just shows how skewed this is, with Ryan's only burn being Snood. I have
but look at how
burns.
tight that running is, though. 1.7 to 2.2, that's a tight margin. I was surprised by that.
Well, I'm going to pick some real bangers this time.
So let's get into our picks and Nate's banger. So Andy has gone with Bonkers. Nate has gone with Captain Novolin, and I have gone with Bubsy, Claws Encounters of the Furred Kind. So let's go back up to the top. We're going to read the description, talk about these games a little bit individually. Let's start off with Bonkers, Andy's pick. Once Upon a Time in Toontown, Bonkers D. Bobcat. That's bad. The most popular star of all time has stumbled upon what might be the most despicable crime ever committed in Toontown. Some unidentified thief has stolen 3 of Toondom's most priceless treasures: the sorcerer's hat, the mermaid's voice, and the magical lamp. Fortunately, Bonkers is now a cop, and he's on the case before you can say sarsaparilla. Hollywood and Toontown are both turned on their respective ears as Bonkers tears through, looking for clues to the mystery. His trusty friend, Fall Apart Rabbit, is here to lend a hand. But for Hollywood's sake, let's hope the pressure doesn't cause Bonkers to fall apart.
Boy, that's a description.
I stopped
kinda
short. There was more.
More? Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize there was that much story here. But the Bonkers, like, I came to this one because we all went to a flea market, saw it. None of us bought it because we never played it. And I'm like, why is that? It's a Disney Capcom game on the Super Nintendo. And 3 retro gamers have not played it. Like, how is that possible, you know?
And I was a huge fan of Bonkers, the short-lived, like, Disney. It was like the end of Disney Afternoon. It was like kind of one of those shows that was like a throwaway. It sort of falls in that Roger Rabbit universe. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Bonkers. I have the Genesis version. Have not played it, but I think this is a case where it's wildly different between Genesis and Super Nintendo. So yeah, again, it's weird that none of us have picked this one up.
Sure. I was a huge fan of Bonkers back in the day too, but now I've come to realize that I remember like hardly anything of it, like of the show or any episodes or anything.
The theme song is stuck in my head. Bonkers, yeah, totally nuts. Bonkers. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I can remember.
I mean, I remember the cartoon as well, but I don't recall. I mean, I can't even think of things that happened in any episodes or anything like that.
Yeah.
So just for context, one of the reasons none of us might remember this is I see this came out in October of 1994, which is super late into the life cycle.
Yeah. That's probably the last Disney Capcom one that they made then, I'm guessing. They're not putting this on the Aladdin and Lion King collection, I don't think.
We can only hope.
Yeah, it's a perfectly serviceable action platformer overall. It's got that really nice graphical background that a lot of those Capcom Disney games had. But yeah, overall, I think it's kind of basic, which is kind of surprising for how late you said it was.
Can we also acknowledge how depressing and what an asshole Bonkers is at the setup of this game? Because in the cartoon, Bonkers is a human partner, similar to the Roger Rabbit scenario. And Bonkers is freaking the F out in the front of the cop car, which causes his human partner to crash, who is then like horribly mangled and injured and ends up in the hospital for the remainder of this game, which is why you don't see him and you only play as Bonkers. So
it was a beautiful cutscene.
Way to go, Bonkers.
This game was very interesting because it took... I still don't understand what I'm supposed to do with the balloons on the first stage. I jumped on top of the balloons, and it doesn't spring you anywhere. You couldn't break the balloons unless you throw a bomb at them, which you're equipped with. And it was... that was really confusing to me. And then if you get under one of the balloons and an enemy comes or something like that, there's just really no way of avoiding that. And so it just really wasn't clear. I don't know if the instruction manual had something in it at some point. But that was kind of difficult.
Yeah. I felt like Andy said, it's a very serviceable platformer, but there's nothing special about it. I kind of feel like the way Disney treated this cartoon is almost the treatment that Capcom gave this game, where it's like nobody really cared about this property. It's not the worst thing ever, but it's definitely not the great game. I think they did a good job of capturing some of the cartoon elements where he'll hit a wall and he'll go flat, or he'll get electrocuted and like poof up. The one thing that jumped out at me right away, if you guys were paying attention to the sound design, when you jump off an enemy, that boing. You know what that's from? Aladdin.
Oh,
it's
really?
The same sample, both done by Capcom.
Very interesting.
So you could tell that not a lot of care was given to this game if they were willing to reuse a sound sample from another game. It's kind of a dead giveaway.
This is going to sound ridiculous, but I forgot at one point that Bonkers was there was any affiliation with Disney. And so when they're running through the story, I don't know if they had something kind of in the intro screen or something, but I must have missed it. So they're going through the story and somebody stole these items from the museum. And I was like, this is like a Disney knockoff. Like, that doesn't even look legit, where they're stealing a lamp and so on. And it seemed like in the dialogue, they weren't really specifically talking about like Disney characters, but it seemed kind of vague enough where it was like, this is such a knockoff. But then I remembered there was an actual cartoon related to this song or this game.
But that's Bonkers in general. It's kind of strange because like they weren't allowed to do anything. Like if you have Aladdin's lamp in there, how come Aladdin can't show up in a video game and talk to him for like one cutscene or something,
Right.
Because it would confuse children.
Because then it would be Kingdom Hearts, Andy. This is Bonkers.
Add Bonkers to Kingdom Hearts.
There you go. Or make him an assist trophy in Smash. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure there's been at least one petition for that.
Yeah, I think, overall, this just feels like, Capcom always does quality work. Like, even though this is like a lazy, kind of like half-assed game by them, it's still a better than average platformer. Especially when there was a sea of shitty mascot platformers back in this era.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the strongest thing, like you said, was the damage animations.
Yeah.
Were very cartoony, but at the same time, Bubsy did that many years earlier.
Oh, good segue. Good segue. Let's talk about another cartoony platformer. Nate's pick here, Captain Novolin. So the description on this one, aliens disguised as sugary foods have captured the mayor of Pineville. It's up to you, Captain Novolin, to rescue him. Leaping manic donuts, dodging ice cream blobs, Captain Novolin must save Mayor Gooden while managing his diabetes with a good diet of insulin and exercise. It's an action-packed adventure that teaches you about diabetes management.
Yeah, if this doesn't call you to play this game, I don't know what will. You're not a gamer if you don't play this game.
Hashtag,
so this
you're
is
still a gamer. It's okay.
Okay, good. I'm actually trying to find some friends that are hashtag not a real gamer. Just reaching out to those people. I guess you would call this edutainment / a slow-paced platformer. Can I say platformer? Because you don't really jump on much.
I mean, you could have just gone with / piece of shit. But
I won't.
Slow-paced platformer works too.
I just want to be very clear that if you make fun of this game, you're making fun of the people that are struggling with all of these issues. So you need to take some time and really read the dialogue in this game.
I acknowledge, accept, and reject everything you just said.
So you play as Captain, and he is dodging sugary food like giant donut dogs and just other random sugary treats, and you're looking for bananas and you're looking for peanut butter sandwiches or whatever it is to get your levels to the proper place. You almost feel bad, like the guy is struggling. He needs to just get some sugar in his body, some proper sugar. And you're like hitting these donuts and everything, and he dies. I just feel like that's a real life story, and it really just pulls at the heartstrings a little bit.
I also want to point out that it might be counterintuitive to like teach children how to like dose out medicine into a syringe, because if you are not diabetic, that's probably not the learning tool that they intended for. It's a little weird. So for anyone who doesn't know, this was actually not this wasn't, I believe, a retail release. It was a physical release, but it was only available through practitioners for children who are diagnosed and trying to help them understand their disease while having fun with a really mediocre game. It's exactly what you would expect based on understanding what it was made for, I guess.
That's not good.
It doesn't make it a good game. It doesn't even make it a good educational tool. Like most video games that were educational in the 90s, it didn't quite work.
And how I picked this game, I saw the word Captain on a list of Super Nintendo games. I'm like, okay, I'm all for this. I've never heard this game. I want to know what kind of captain this is. Man, it just took me to a very interesting place right away.
I don't know.
It's slow paced. The music's awful. Sound effects are awful. He's kind of a weird looking guy, and
it's got a bit of a Jay Leno chin going on.
Yes, very Jay Leno. Good job.
But I mean, if you put it on the very short list of characters who have a screw attack move, you have Samus and Captain Novolin. So
do not lump him in with Samus Aran, you monster. How dare you?
I like where you're going with this, Andy. We got to change those stats, everyone.
Plus, like, how badass is it to get a password code from the doctor?
Yeah,
like,
what was
that's
that?
That's not
awesome.
a real gamer. Yeah.
If you don't know your password, just use 0. Okay.
So I wonder if it tailors to someone's like individual levels that they have to watch and how they're going to watch it,
or whether you're like type 2 or something else.
I would love to go through and see, if anybody's ever put their code online where you could just play as them
there's for sure
whatever.
I guarantee
that would be
there's
interesting.
like a wiki. Yeah.
Or what would the Game Genie do to a game like this?
Throw up.
Some of the enemy designs in here are horrifying, though. Like, if I'm sitting up at 11:30 at night and I'm like, oh, I should go eat a bowl of cereal, I don't think I will after seeing that cereal have like guns for arms and like walking around with that huge nose. Like it's a nightmare.
So I do have to add that the first time I played this was yesterday. And while I was playing this game, I was eating a Swiss roll.
Oh, nice.
And there was a couple of moments where I stopped and I looked like, I probably shouldn't be eating this. But I kept on going. Trying to tackle that game. So I guess I didn't learn my lesson.
According to Reddit, the codes were optimized to teach kids the benefits of different insulin regimes. Not whatever. So the base 0 one
regimens.
Yeah, shut up, Nate.
It's a terrorist group.
Regime. Fuck off.
The diabetic.
It's not supposed to teach me reading. It's supposed to teach kids about insulin. So 0 is 2 injections without adjustment. 365 is 2 injections with adjustment allowed, and 762 is 4 injections with adjustments allowed.
So it probably changes that codes. Like middle thing.
Yeah.
That interlude thing. Yeah.
So it must be like the mini game. You know, you set your regimes prior to the game.
Mm-hmm.
So
those terrorist diabetes.
I mean,
whatever.
What is more terrifying than diabetes as a child? That
donut? Wilford Brimley is yelling at me about it. So yeah.
So when I did some traveling for work, I would occasionally stay in some random people's homes that you just meet for like a half a day, and then so they would be kind of host families. And I remember sitting out in Denver, Colorado on this deck, just kind of looking at the sunset, just hanging out, and this guy was sitting next to me, just dead silence, really don't know much about him, and he just turns to me and he goes, I have diabetes. And then just like look back out at the sunset. It was one of those moments of like, I don't know how to respond. And I just continued to sit in silence.
I can't think of a better segue than that. Let's talk about my game, Bubsy Claws Encountered of the Third Kind. Description. So when you're a bankable star like me, you don't skimp on the megs. No siree, Bobcat, 16 megs. 16 Mondo megs of marvelous me, pouncing out of this cart, running, leaping, flying, and falling all over your face. I'm Bubsy. I'm trying to save the earth from the woolies. No, woolies aren't what you get from wearing cheap underwear. Woolies are space... Oh, this is so bad. Are space dweebs in flying saucers out to purloin the earth's supply of yarn balls. I feel like that's a word that people don't use often. There's more, but I'm done with this. That was worse than playing the actual game. So Bubsy, this is the first Bubsy game. Bubsy has gained notoriety over the years for being just complete trash. I would say that this first game is not exactly all that awful. It's a mediocre platformer. With Bubsy the Bobcat, who has snarky one-liners throughout the game, floaty controls, poor to middling level design, but overall, it's not that bad. I played a lot of this as a kid. It's colorful, the music's good, and what I loved is, so I emulated your guys' games, and I thought, well, since I'm going to emulate, I'm just going to download a ROM of Bubsy, even though I have the cart, and save myself the hassle of playing it on the Super Nintendo.
You mean you don't have Captain Novium?
No.
Wow.
I know. It's
Call yourself
shocker.
A collector.
And what I loved is when I think I got an intentionally broken ROM, because when it loaded into the first level and Bubsy's standing there and he goes, what could possibly go wrong? It locks it there so you can't continue. And I just died. Like I
Game
reset it. Yeah, it was like perfect. This is perfect. So that was great. Whoever did that is a genius. I don't know. I have some fond memories for this game. I played through. I beat it as a kid. I've played through it since.
Wow.
I enjoy it. Is it the best platformer ever? Hell no. Is it as bad as the reputation of Bubsy now is? No. What do you guys think?
I didn't care for it. It was a Sonic ripoff that was poorly executed. It was one of those moments. I don't know the release year on that, but Genesis threw out Sonic and they're like, we need something. We need Bubsy. And so it plays very similar.
May
There's
of
moments that
93.
can be. Okay. When was Sonic?
Probably 2 years prior.
Like, 91.
Let me check.
Yeah, they probably wanted that Sonic
Or two.
craze a little bit, or at least it feels that way. And so it's a fast-paced game, very, very loose controls, a lot of like camera shifting, and just it's poorly executed. It could be very fun, and he's kind of an interesting, weird character. Some of the enemies were very strange as well. I didn't know what they were doing to me. Like, were they like, was that hair or their tongue sticking out, or I don't know. It was the woolies were strange, but it's a Bubsy game. I've played Bubsy, so there's some weird charm to it, but definitely not enjoyable.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of there with you. I mean, it definitely is a response to Sonic. I mean, it's got the speed of Sonic. It's got the running up hills and a lot of blind jumps. But I think the difference being what makes Sonic pretty fun is flying around at that speed and being kind of carefree. And every once in a while you'll fall and you'll get hurt or something and you lose all your rings in Sonic. But in Bubsy, you fall in a pit of water or you hit an enemy and it's just immediately a death, where you're not, it just kills the mood of running and jumping around.
Yeah, you definitely have to. You're meant to play it slow, even though they give you the option to play it fast. So it's kind of like intuitive to its own like character design and abilities. But like if you really play it slow paced, which is kind of the only way to succeed, honestly. But then there is some douchey level design, like tunnels to jump down that are just instant deaths. Like it's never good game design to just kill someone for exploring and make them learn through failure, which happens in the first level pretty early on, which is not great. I think the later levels get better, to be honest. I think the big open world sections from the opening are harder to navigate than later stages.
Yeah. I think they knew that they kind of made a bad design because, like, look how many checkpoints they put out in the world. There is just constantly a checkpoint. So if you die, you're right there, which is nice, but that's also saying that you're recognizing that your game is kind of shit.
I'm impressed that you actually beat this.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. I don't think I would ever give it that much time.
Yeah. No, I played a ton of this game. I genuinely enjoyed it. Still like it.
I know you're a Bubsy fan.
It's the only game though that in the series. Well, I didn't mind the first PlayStation 4 game either. That's a bad game, but it's playable, and that's kind of how I feel about this game. Like, it's not a great platformer, but it's playable. So.
And essentially, you buy every single one, right?
No. This is
really. I feel like you have like every single one.
I have this one,
Anything
and I
Bubsy.
have the PS4 one, and then because I collect Jaguar, I have the Jaguar one, which is really bad. Really, really bad.
Is that 3D?
No, 3D was PlayStation. So the Jaguar game is like a 2D sequel, just like this one.
Really?
It's a lot more like the first one than the second one on Genesis and Super Nintendo. That game was weird. It's really bad though. The controls are super fucking terrible. But anyway, I don't think there's more that we could say about Bubsy than the internet hasn't already said. Andy, what are your picks? Buy, rent, burn. What are you gonna do?
I think for my buy, I'm gonna go with Bonkers because I don't know. I had a lot of fun. I wish it was more than what it was, though. Overall, which is kind of crazy to say when it's your buy, but out of everything else, I think it excelled the most. But that was probably just because it was leftovers from a lot better games to begin with, like you say.
Right.
My rent, I think, is going to be Bubsy. I totally agree that it is not as bad as what people make it out to be. However, it is it doesn't stick the landing of what it's trying to go for, I don't think either.
No.
Plus, it's like the epitome of the attitude era of mascots, which you kind of get your fill of after a while. But
yeah, and they didn't perfect the attitude meter in this first one like they did in the PS4 one. We can slide the the comments down to a minimum.
Yeah. And my burn's got to be Captain Novaline. That was more like a just try and make it to the right without getting hit than it is platformer or anything else.
Yeah. It's more of a like exercise in avoidance. That's a good point.
Yeah. Some things you have to go under, some things you have to go over, but that's about all you do.
All right. Interesting choices. Nate, you look disappointed.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
No, I'm just
you okay? You gonna bounce back?
Ganged up on, just getting, let's burn someone being adventurous, trying something new, getting away from the Bubsies and Bonkers. And
I mean, in all fairness, I picked one of the most hated games of all time, not thinking you would pick one worse.
Well, I took a risk, and it didn't pay off. But my buy is gonna be Bonkers for sure. I'm really disappointed that none of us bought that game at the flea market. I mean, it's not a great game, but it's one that's like, for the price that they were selling it, we should have snagged it. Mm-hmm. And just, yeah. So it was a good game. Not great, but compared to everything else, my rent is gonna be I'm just kidding, Ryan. I'm just
what is wrong with you?
Yeah, we were about to hear Ryan lose his mind. No, we're gonna rent Bubsy, and I didn't really care for the game, but it was definitely better than Captain, and we're burning the Captain because it sucks. It's not good. I'm sorry, guys. I let you down.
Yeah,
Ryan, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to change things up a little bit here, and I am going to go ahead.
All right,
and I'm going to buy. Captain, no, I'm not. Bonkers. I'm going with that. I'm going with Bubsy, and I'm burning Captain. So I'm BBC across the board, which is Nate's favorite keyword search on YouPorn. BBC all day long. So.
Oh my gosh! I was hoping. I was like, please catch that.
Yeah, I didn't think that through, did I?
I'm all about that BBC.
No, it was weird because like I feel like this is probably one of the more even ones because we all picked platformers. They're all lackluster, so it's like I don't know if I'd really want to buy any of them. Like if to be honest, like I'd rent 2 of these and I would definitely burn one. You can decide what that would be, but I don't know. I wish Bonkers was better. I wish Bonkers was a better game. I mean, it's Capcom. In their heyday, had they given a damn, this could have been a much better game, but it's still fine. And Bubsy's Bubsy. And
Captain Novium is Captain Novium.
Captain gave me diabetes, so thanks a lot.
He gave you diabetes and BBC.
Yep, all day long.
Do you think there was anybody that like got that mistaken for Captain N, the cartoon?
Oh, I didn't even think about
absolutely.
that. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Well, at least you couldn't like walk into a store and see it there, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
so nobody got duped into this. This is probably like given away for your like $500 doctor visit to find out you've got diabetes. And...
those kids, they didn't fully understand what they were going through, and like they're like, "Sucker, you got a sticker? I got a video game."
Yeah, but then how traumatized were these
about you
poor children to like get home and realize that. Knowing that they had diabetes meant they were going to be attacked by giant freakish donuts who were just going to like rip their faces off. I don't know. It's more terrifying, I think, if you've played this game.
I'll work on trying to track someone down that got one at a doctor's office and just their thoughts on it. That'd be great.
So my theory, I was going to talk about. So Bonkers is a cop on a movie studio lot, right?
Yeah.
In Toontown. Shortly thereafter, that cartoon, Animaniacs, came out, which was also cartoons on a movie studio lot.
Toontown lot, yeah.
And the cop / security guard on that show was pretty special needs.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if that was a dig at Bonkers.
Dude, you tied it all together. Bonkers made his partner special needs, who became the beat cop from Animaniacs. We tied this all together.
Yep.
That's right, guys. You heard it first on Week in Rental Podcast.
Because they kind of look the same, don't they?
Yeah, shave his head.
Yeah.
Yep, nailed it.
Yep.
Gosh, you're so smart, Andy. Solve this all these years.
It's one big universe.
It's a big BBC. Another Byron Bird in the books.
That's a little redundant. Big BBC.
A big black cock. All right, so let's move on from Byron Byrne. I thought I'd kick things off. We are recording September 24th. Sony graced us with, I don't know if that's quite the way I'd put it, a state of play that, what was I supposed to get out of that? That I'm paying too much for PlayStation Plus because they're giving me a free, like, the show 19. Am I supposed to be excited about getting the show 19? Were you?
Yep.
You and 3 people. And then The Last of Us Remastered, which you can buy for like $2.50.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sony. You saved me like $5.
I kind of assumed that was already a Plus game at one point, but
yeah, how was it not? I don't know if did both of you see this? Just Andy?
I didn't see it.
Didn't see the state of play. I just want to make a comment like off. I don't want to get into like, this is going to like tread water that we don't like talk about on the podcast, but I think it was poor taste to maybe show that Humanity game in the context that they did, especially opening that thing, like in the wake of like school shootings, gun violence and stuff. It's maybe not a good foot forward to call a game Humanity and then show like hundreds of innocent like humanoid figures being like shot down by like lots of other humanoid figures as your opener, and then expect people to be excited about it. Bad call, maybe.
Yeah, I have no idea what that thing was even going for.
It's a school shooting simulator. I'm pretty sure.
Weird schools.
I don't know what it was supposed to be. I kind of didn't think that was the right thing to do. Maybe I read into it too much, but like I kind of cringed out by it.
Yeah. The whole time I was just confused about what was the gameplay there? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. And I don't care. I don't know why they led with that.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed.
I missed this.
So basically it was just like this, like, it almost looks like a puzzle game. So there's like seas, like, and I mean seas of like humanoid figures like running at each other. There's like 2 groups, one in darker clothes, one in colorful clothes, and they're like all merging and doing all this stuff through the map. It looked interesting. I was like, okay, this is like a tech demo. Like, I don't know what's happening. But then it got to a point where like waves of people were approaching other people who were then just gunning them down, like off of cliffs and things. And
now I remember seeing this. Yeah.
I don't know. The political climate, like I feel like in the United States is not like in a spot where that is probably a great thing to showcase. And I know it was like super minimalistic graphics, and that's not what they were showing. There weren't guns. It could have been like laser. I don't know, but
yeah,
it made me feel like.
How is this different than the stick figure games where you're like joyfully killing this man? That have you ever played those games?
No.
Like this,
yeah.
So there's stick figure, and you're trying to go through obstacles or whatever. and then like blood everywhere. You're killing this guy or whatever. There's just different forms of it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's. Yeah, I guess I don't know much about the game.
It's not. Those aren't called humanity though either.
Right. I mean
that's also true.
That to me was like, it was like they were digging at a further like social
Sure.
like I don't know. And maybe I'm probably like over reading into it, but like it made me a little like I don't know that was a good step forward, maybe, but
I was disappointed because it was Enhance, which is like the Tetris Effect people.
okay.
So I don't know what this game even like follows in that footsteps at all either. So
right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything noteworthy in the state of play other than a release date for Last of Us 2, which, okay, it's coming out February next year. It'll be on the PlayStation 5 October of that same year, so why am I going to buy it? I'm not going to. That's dumb.
I like how they said exclusively on the PS4, though.
For 6 months is what they should have put.
Yeah, exclusively on the PS4 months. Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, that would be great.
And then that Katamari Damacy creator game, I spent more time trying to figure out what the name of the game was until they told me. That seemed interesting.
Well, that game was announced like 10 years ago and it still isn't out yet.
Yeah, I watched the toilet eat a hunk of shit. It seemed to make me happy. That was cool.
Again, what was the game there? I don't know.
I don't know. And then there was the game where you go to hell and challenge Satan to a drinking game to win your way out of hell, which kudos to that like story arc, but I don't know if that's going to be fun.
Yeah. I was excited about the Last of Us trailer, but at the same time, I wish I went to saw it because it seemed like a lot of that.
Oh, I hadn't finished the game, so they gave away. That pissed me off. I hadn't finished the first one. I assumed like the male. I'm not going to ruin it for anybody, but yeah, that bothered me.
Yeah.
I mean, they're excited about it, and this is going to be the longest game they've made so far.
I'm sure it's going to be.
I mean,
good.
you already said it's a pretty intense game. So can you imagine going through that for just a longer length of time?
Right.
Well, and this one seems a lot more violent toward humans. It's like basically a revenge story, it seems like, more than anything.
Right.
So
so it's like this society has like almost gotten to a point where like they can sustain with like the freaks, but now they're like waging war on each other, and I don't know.
So the zombies are just kind of like a side thing.
That's right. It's like everyday life now. They're also hardened to it or something. I thought that Rise game looked interesting. Like, not that I haven't played 50 million walking simulators, but that looked like a walking simulator that I'll throw like 3 hours into and just enjoy the pretty giant flowers and Norse-looking character that I'd play as. I feel like overall though, like I just walked away, like I just kind of like came away from that thinking like, why did you bother? Like, why set up a state of play for this? Like you announced nothing significant. You sort of confirmed the lack of AAA lineup of games for the next 6 months of your console. I don't know that you benefited anyone other than like, oh, look out, we got a cool fucking limited edition Death Stranding PS4 Pro. Woo!
Which looks like my kid's got a hold of some paint.
Right. Or in the Norman Reedus pissed inside the controller, which I don't know. I'm still waiting to see what that freak show of a game is going to be about.
Oh, yeah.
I have a feeling Kojima's like status amongst gaming. I could be wrong, but he's going to completely like fall off after this. There's no way. There's no way that turns out to be something that anyone really wanted or likes.
Have you seen like the gameplay videos of it now?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that like some of it is like super interesting, and some of it's like, what are you even doing here?
Right.
As far as the game, but
yeah.
And then he did that tweet. Was it yesterday? That basically he said that he did everything in the game for this game. It's like, wow, that's
he made it all.
He's saying that he had a part in everything, basically. But so he's taking credit for almost everything.
Yeah, but isn't that what a producer does? Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah. But it just takes away from your team when you say stuff like that.
Hopefully he credits them at least. Yeah. So State of Play was a state of disappointment as far as I'm concerned.
It sure seems like they're holding everything back for their next console next year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're at the point now, at least with the PS4, well, and the Xbox for the last 3 years, but with the PS4 for sure, that like, yeah, you were very much on the edge of something greater. I mean, you have studios that have moved on. That's why you're not seeing this stuff. The Switch is still firing on all cylinders, of course, but the Switch is 2 years old. So, yeah. Speaking of Switch, it was Blink's Awakening Day last week, so we got the new Blink-182 album, and we got the Link's Awakening remaster, which I was very excited about.
So did you play the game and listen to the record?
I did, and I'm pretty sure
time?
I'm the only person who used the hashtag Blink's Awakening.
Everybody's like, Blink's the time sweeper?
I guarantee you. Yeah. So yeah, I picked it up. The kids and I have been playing through it together. We're through the first 3 dungeons.
Is it everything that you anticipated?
Well, I mean, it is what
you were very excited about it.
Well, I mean, I was excited, not like clamoring for it. I mean, it's an old school Zelda game with a coat of paint, right? So it's one that I hadn't played a lot of. I'd played just briefly, like in like store kiosks and things. But I mean, it very much feels like a game from 20 years ago that's got a facelift. They did a bunch of quality of life improvements. I'm not a huge fan of like the blurring on the top and bottom of the screen. I find that a little distracting. The frame rate being not consistent is also puzzling to me for a game that should seem to run fine on the Switch. And then just I wish they had done some stuff to like update some of the dungeon trappings. That people don't just design games like that arbitrarily anymore. Like, puzzles should make sense. I shouldn't have to just stumble through random sequences or break a thing to progress. So the first time I wasted 40 minutes in something like that, not having played through this game in its entirety before, I was pretty effing pissed. Especially with the section in Dungeon 2. But it's fun, right? We're having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get the amiibo for it as well?
Yep, I had my wife grab it. She got the amiibo. She got the free pins that Target was giving away also.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've seen some of those.
I picked up Snake too, the Snake amiibo. I hate amiibo, but I love Metal Gear, so I couldn't not have that one.
Yeah, I haven't snagged it yet. I was walking around Target this weekend, maybe Saturday, and I saw your pictures of the Sega Genesis. I saw your pictures of the Link's Awakening, and I'm in the midst of a move, and so I'm walking around like I really want this, but it's just going to be pointless at this point. I need to, wait a couple weeks or something like that before I grab something and actually I get to actually use it instead of just throwing it in a box. So I was depressed at Target, which I don't know if that's possible.
Oh, it is.
I love Target that much. I don't.
If they don't have a clearance.
Right. How about you, Andy? Did you pick it up?
No, I just think it's too expensive for what it is.
Yeah, and that was going to be my main point is I think had this come out 2 years prior, there's no question that this would have been a 3DS game and it would have been capped at $40.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one who complains about length of games a lot and how that is a detriment to my busy life nowadays. But I do think it's a little crazy to expect people to pay $60 for an upscaled Game Boy game, because it's not like they did like, it's beautifully crafted and designed and well done, like in a very Nintendo style, but it is not on the same tier as, say, a Breath of the Wild in development resources or anything like that. So it sucks that it's $60. However, the thing is like if this is a game you want to play, it's Nintendo. It's going to be $60 till the end of time or until they do a player's choice for the Switch. So unless you find this thing loose or used later on, it's probably going to be $60 for the next couple years.
That's true.
It's a $39.99 game.
Yeah, I agree. It should be, or at least 50.
Yep.
They should have at least done the minimum to acknowledge that it shouldn't be a full AAA release price. The fact that it's $59 is nuts to me, but it is very fun. It is very Zelda. And if you've never played this one, Nate, I don't know if you had much Game Boy experience.
No.
Or Andy. I mean, there's a lot of like weird crossover in this game. There's the guy from SimCity in the game. There's Chain Chomps. There's Goombas. There's all sorts of great nods to other Nintendo properties that have never and would never appear in, new Zelda or other Zelda stuff. It's a very strange game, and it's very charming for it. So I don't know. I can't be too mad at paying a little more than I would like to still have a good time.
Yeah. For me, it's just been like, I've been pretty busy lately, so only a little bit of game time. And when it is, it's like you hop on Game Pass and there's always a new game there that just, you want to get into. And they just added Bloodstained, so I've been playing through that.
Which sucks.
No, I like it.
Curse of the Moon or the full?
The full one, Ritual of the Night.
Really? See?
Is that what it is?
I've been so disappointed with it.
I mean, it's definitely goofier, than what Castlevania is, but I don't know. Overall, it seems like it's that game. He was right that he was going to make that game.
It's like a less polished version of that game, I feel like. But I don't know. I had a hard time. I mean, I really struggled. I got a couple hours in. It didn't draw to me the way that I wanted it to. Maybe I just didn't give it enough time, but
I mean, you're really the only person I've heard say they don't like it.
Really? There's a ton of people that have complaints.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I've heard just really positive things, that everybody loves it. The Castlevania whatever tie-in or look that everybody ties every game to. Yeah. It's either a Castlevania or a Metroid game. And I haven't tried it, but I definitely want to try that one.
Get it for the Switch.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. It's broken as hell on the Switch. Everyone's pissed. Don't buy it for the Switch.
Come on, man. Don't lead me down that path.
It might be fixed.
I trust you.
Yeah, maybe. They said they were going to try and fix it as they could, but I think like they were putting priority on like other platforms first, so.
Well, considering it was supposed to come for the Wii U.
Right. You played Gears 5 on Game Pass?
I haven't yet, no.
Yeah.
I've just never been a Gears person in general, so it's like, you just hop right in? I don't know. Like the story, you probably wouldn't get anything out of it, but...
Well, and like I like the campaigns because they're like super linear, straightforward, and like I blast through Gears games like in a sitting usually, or a couple, and then to find out this one's got like open world segments and stuff, it's just like I don't want that. That's not what I went to Gears for. Like I don't need that. So
yeah, and multiplayer stuff just never really gets me on that. So I might check it out. I mean, it's free. Why not? Right.
Right. Well, free with Game Pass.
Yeah.
But still mostly free. Yeah. So how far are you into Bloodstain then?
Probably about 5 hours. So not too far.
So you're enjoying it already at that point. Okay.
It's got enough stuff to it, to always getting like an upgrade to play around with. I think that's what's huge in those games, right? Is finding something new that you like that upgrades it and you get to play around. But yeah, I don't know. I like it. There's a couple other ones. Creature in the Well. That one is kind of cool. It's a really crazy art style. I haven't played a lot of it yet, but it's just like every week that they're adding something new that you just want to check out.
Yeah, if I could bring myself to turn that console on, I'd probably be all about that. But
yeah,
maybe they'll bring me back with the next Xbox. We'll see. Yeah. So did you, like, I know Nate mentioned it briefly, but did you pick up the Genesis Mini at all?
Nope.
Gosh. But you're the Sonic the Hedgehog guy. What are you doing?
Know.
You're the Sega leg to our podcast, and you're not picking up cutting edge releases.
I actually haven't even been out retail, like to a store since then. So
Oh, wow.
that's probably why.
Gaming off the grid, huh? Well, except you're
Pretty
on the
much.
grid with your Game Pass.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
part of the reason I went to Target, was to look for a mini, which do they sell them there?
I got
really
the last
sure.
one in the Fargo store. Well, my wife did for me.
Okay, jerk. So
They're
I
at
was
Walmart everywhere. You can find them.
so I went to the video game section, and I kind of was walking around, didn't see anything until you get to, where they kind of have the PlayStation games in Target. Yeah, jerk. Thank you for showing me that. He's just flaunting this his mini around on the screen.
Hey, it's my BBC. What are you talking about?
So I found the Genesis, but it was what is it? The throwback.
Oh, the ad
and I
games.
like how the price is exactly the same
That's
as the mini. So I grabbed it and I was like, 84 games. I'm really confused, and I started walking a little bit. I'm like, no, this is a throwback, because it was right next to the Atari throwback. And that would have been a disaster going home with the throwback.
It's funny you mention it, because I was super nervous about it too, because I knew Jill was there getting me, my wife was there getting me the Link's Awakening stuff. So I asked her if she could ask about that too. But then her phone, for whatever reason, was not accepting like images that I would send. For last week, it was like all screwed up. So like I couldn't send her pictures. I was like, well, shit, like I don't want her to buy like the ad games piece of crap. So like I finally sent her a link to it so she could go to like Amazon's web store and like see what it's supposed to be. But yeah, she came out with it. I've taken it out of the box. I was out of town last weekend, so like the little time I had was playing Link's Awakening with the kids. So I've yet to turn it on, but I will say like the build on the mini is just incredible. It's better than any of the stuff Nintendo's done. Like the attention to detail on the controls and stuff, the fact that it's got expansion ports on the back and the sides that pop off, even like the cutouts to where you would lock in the disc system. I mean, it's stuff that they maybe most people wouldn't appreciate, and that they definitely did not need to include, but is on there, that just makes it so cool. And then, the fact that you can actually open the expansion port on the top, which bummed me out that you couldn't do that on the NES Classic. Even if it was just hollow inside, I wouldn't have cared. They should have done that. So, very cool.
How was the packaging?
Really nice. Really good packaging. Yeah. I liked it a lot.
Very nostalgic.
Yep, for sure. And we'll have to see how the emulation is. Like I said, I haven't done it. A lot of other people have. Some people I've heard have made complaints about things not running quite right, but I've heard plenty of people just praising it for how well it does run. So I have to imagine it's pretty decent. I mean, it was M2, so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have to get it.
Yeah.
I have every mini console minus the PlayStation
there
one.
You go.
Minus the PlayStation one. And I just have to have it. I have to, for anybody that just wants to sit down and like even stream or something like that, it makes it so convenient, very easy.
Well,
not that I'm streaming or anything like that.
I mean, and it's got Castlevania Bloodlines and Contra Hardcore. Yeah. I mean, there's 5 like really solid reasons to buy it, in addition to a bunch of other really good games too. So,
is it hackable? Didn't people already really tear into it?
I haven't looked, but I'd imagine there's probably something already up there. And if there's not something that's easy to use now, I would imagine we would see something similar to Hackchi in the very near future. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the best games for Sega were very much Sega games. Same thing with Nintendo a lot of times. But with the Nintendo minis, it seems like they got most of it right. But then there was like some of those were like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then some pretty just, omissions that were not on there. Whereas like Sega, the Sega thing is like, it's pretty much complete. Anything at Sega that you kind of want to play is probably going to be on there.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it had. I mean, it's not a major complaint because you can find it a million other places, but I wish it had Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. I think that would have been nice. It would have been nice if they'd have done Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3 instead of just 2. 2 is obviously the best, but why not give me the rest of them? But yeah, I would say for the most part, you're right. I mean, they've even got like the obligatory like Alex Kidd game in there just cause. Although I will say like the inclusion of Virtua Fighter 2 seems like a foolish one, because that did not run well on that game or on that
Yeah.
system. But yeah, there's good stuff.
And for the cost, like it really doesn't cost much to add something to that console. I mean, licensing or whatever, but if they got everything, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
So add just a crap ton of games, and even if you went to $89.99,
Yeah.
and you got everything, people would pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've got some pretty heavy, like in Road Rash 2 is a good inclusion because I don't think I've seen a Road Rash game on any of the other like at game stuff. And
Or
to me,
EA games even. Really.
right.
Yeah.
But then it kind of begs the question, like, why didn't you just license a couple like EA sports titles just cause? I mean, I suppose there was like other licensing issues you have to think about with like those, franchises, but it would have been like kind of nostalgic and impactful to see like a Madden 94 and NHL, because I mean those are so indicative of this console for so many people. But yeah, no, it's a good mix. And Mega Man: The Wily Wars, I mean, come on, that's awesome. That's an expensive cart, PAL only, I think.
Was there one that you were most excited about? I can't remember if that was for the TurboGrafx or this.
I mean, I'm really excited about the TurboGrafx one. I'm excited to play the Darius port to this that's never been released, but also just really wanted to play Castlevania Bloodlines. I've wanted to play that for a long time, so I'm excited to check that out.
And that's a pricey one, right? Isn't that like $50?
I mean, yeah,
around
40,
there?
50. I think it's come down a little maybe, but
I don't think I've ever seen it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually come across it, so that'll be good. I'm excited. And the controllers feel fucking awesome. Like way better and more realistic, like true to the original console than either of the Nintendo classics have been, in my opinion, and those have been really, really close. But this what's that?
They're the 6 button?
No, 3.
Oh, they really? Oh.
Yeah, the 8-bit dough, or not the 8-bit dough, but like is it? No. Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Whoever's making those USB ones and like the repro ones, 8-bit dough or whatever, like the wired ones.
Those are the 6 buttons?
Yeah, they're compatible with it. So if you wanted to get it, you could, but really that's only going to impact your Street Fighter and your Eternal Champions. And Eternal Champions is, I mean, pretty much trash. So I guess if you're really upset about how you're playing Street Fighter 2, it's worth the purchase. But I don't think most people are going to care.
No.
Is there just one controller?
Two.
Or do you get two?
Yep.
You do? Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and I guess Sonic Spinball could have not been on here. That could have like literally been any game. That could have been like Pony Princess Adventures, and I'd have been fine with that.
No.
What?
It's not a good game, but it's iconic. Like,
I didn't know you were a spinball apologist.
it's platforming on a pinball table. That's cool.
Is it?
Let's do another buy rent burn.
What are your feelings on Altered Beast?
That's
Love it.
one step above Captain Novolin because you're doing damn near the same thing.
Thank you.
What?
Thank you. Yeah, I thought this one was weird too. Space Harrier 2. Like even when Space Harrier 2 came out, I don't know that anyone cared about Space Harrier 2, and I certainly don't in 2019.
Yeah, that's a type of game that you put in for a couple minutes. You're like, oh, okay, got it.
Yep, that's a thing. Yeah. No, the rest is cool though. And to get the Castle of Illusion and World of Illusion games, it's a nice nod.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And they're readily available.
Yes.
I mean, that's the amazing thing. They're already one step above Nintendo.
Yeah.
Sega was like, hey, we actually need to make money.
Supply,
so we have to have
demand.
enough of these to rake in the dough because Lord knows we're not making games anymore. Unless we're on mobile.
What are you talking about? They're making a new Yakuza game that is RPG.
Oh, that's right. We totally glossed over this too. I completely forgot the VR showcase. So I threw it on Twitter about how after playing Beat Saber, I wanted Samba de Amigo in VR. Well, they didn't give it to us, but we're getting Space Channel 5, so that's a thing. I mean, that's not what I'd have chose, but I'm still excited for Space Channel 5 in VR. I'm hoping that
you dance.
I'm assuming you're going to dance with Ooh La La. But I hope this means that I'm getting my Samba de Amigo in VR at some point.
And we will get video of that and be posting that on our YouTube page.
And Nate's like, what's a Space Channel 5?
What's
And
a
an
Space
ooh la
Channel
la.
5? Hashtag not real gamer.
I wonder if they've edited the Michael Jackson like cameo segments out of this.
What sick fuck has a baby and then looks at it and say that name it ooh la la? That's
Oh, a good point.
that's gross.
Space father of the future. Let's see.
Oh, I got something.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw today they're finally adding Dragon Force DLC to Rocksmith. Now, what do you think the percentage of clear rate on that is?
I didn't know they were still updating or supporting Rocksmith.
Yeah. Like every 2 weeks, I think they're adding new songs.
Oh shit. I'm gonna guess not good.
Yeah. I mean, even in Guitar Hero, you were playing on 5 buttons and you still weren't playing every exact beat of those songs. So if they course it out to play the exact song, that might be a little bit tough for most people.
Seems like pro level shit there. Like if you really needed to play that game in Rocksmith, you probably don't actually need to be
You
playing
should just be
Rocksmith.
playing guitar.
Right.
Yeah.
At that point, you just do life. You don't need the game.
Yeah, I think you won guitar at that point.
Yes.
I always think those guitars are funny. So I'm a musician. I have a guitar. I have guitars throughout my house. And my son ignores them. Like, he's like, oh, I love guitars. I'm like, man, they're here. So go ahead. And doesn't get excited about them. But you go to a thrift store and you find those guitars lying everywhere. Those Rocksmith and all of those things, Rock Band guitars laying around, and you can't get him to like set it down. And he gets more excited about those guitars that are not actual guitars. I got to work with these kids.
You realize you're their dad, though, so they're going to think like anything you like is lame. Like dad's old school, like stringy guitars. Like, no, give me a plastic one with a flat.
So what you're saying is I should like get excited at the thrift store,
playing
be like, oh my gosh,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, you should start playing Guitar Hero guitars at home, and then your son's going to gravitate towards like actual stringed instrument guitars. This is going to work, I guarantee you. Parenting advice of the year.
I'll work on that. I'll give you an update.
Okay. Thanks.
You should get so Rocksmith is actually real guitar.
Okay, so I sounded ignorant.
Right.
Thank you, Andy.
No, it's fine.
I always meant to try it, and then it just kind of like disappeared from stores. Plus, I don't
that's one
have
way
an
to
electric
do it.
guitar, and I didn't feel like buying one.
Wait, I'm going to sound even dumber. So it's real guitar plugged in where?
It's like a USB cord that you just put right into your guitar jack.
And then you just play along.
It's kind of like the computer cords.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It basically teaches you tabs from what I understood, right? And then like it gets more advanced after that, I've heard, but
I mean it's it shows the guitar neck and you have to put it in the right thing, and then strings are different colors, and
sure.
As the notes come down, they're different colors. So
interesting.
Yeah. It's a cool idea. I mean, it's a cooler idea than guitar.
But they have no idea what they're playing. So they're just playing tabs, but they don't know any like music theory. Like, I'm playing this note or this chord. Interesting.
That's pretty much me. It'll say what note and what note you're playing, but
you're not paying attention to that.
No. It's all muscle memory, and you're remembering the.
I feel like I need to try this
more than anything,
and it's going to prove how crappy of a guitar player I am if I can't get through that.
I'm guessing it's different enough from real guitar too that like if you know how to play guitar real well, it'd be weird to play it on. Because do you think it's like is it actually like mapped to like the correct? Like,
yeah.
Okay, it is. It's not just like simplified.
If you have the difficulty all the way up, it is supposedly
it's
the actual song. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that.
But obviously they scale the difficulty, so it sometimes loses, sometimes you're only playing half the notes. Sometimes you're, playing a slower beat or something like that. But
do you have this game?
Mm-hmm.
Do you play it?
Yeah, I still put it in every once in a while.
Man, I've heard
just to
that.
practice. But that's like me. Like, I don't know how to read real music, so.
Right. I was always a tabs guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier. Why learn?
Exactly. And, back in the day, tabs are hard because you don't have the timing, whereas this plays along at the actual timing. So
That's true.
it's basically a tab player.
Tab Smith.
Do you think anybody's made a real guitar out of, like, took the guts out of a Guitar Hero guitar and then
For sure.
made a real guitar?
Yeah, YouTube this right now, and I bet there's like 20 videos.
Yeah.
I'll bet I'm not going to bet anything on it, but I'm sure there is. But so we rented a couple movies not last week and weekend before, right after we got done recording our last episode, and I got to watch the third John Wick movie. That is very much a John Wick movie. And then I don't know if you guys have seen it, maybe?
Not yet.
No? So it didn't quite end in like a definitive way, which is like, gets me thinking, like, how many movies can you make where it's not really a movie, doesn't have a story, or at least one that makes sense, and it's just Keanu Reeves like choreographed fighting dudes? Because it was entertaining, but even my wife is like, why? Like, why do these movies exist? Like, why is this happening? Like, that's the beauty of the John Wick movies is, I don't know, there's not a reason. Like, you just turn it on, shut your brain off, and you're like, ooh, punching and blood and knives and reasons. Who cares? This one was long though, like really long, way too long for its own good.
Huh.
Like 2.5 hours, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe not quite. It felt like it. But yeah, good. I mean, if you like John Wick, it's more of that. The best part is like at one point, like this chick like freaks out and like starts killing a bunch of people, which gets herself and John into more trouble. And he's like, John Wick is finally like, he's like, are you done now? She's like, he shot my dog. And he's like, yeah, I get it.
That's pretty funny.
And then like for Nate who hasn't seen it, like the whole reason he kills everyone, well, there's more, slightly more, but not really. The whole reason like John Wick goes to murder everyone in both the first two movies and this movie is because someone killed his dog. So yeah. So that was a good punchline, but I'm like, I don't know why we need more of these, but apparently I would be shocked if they don't announce the next one. Yeah, money.
I would hope for some conclusion. You figure like, oh, you take on the biggest bad guy there is, and maybe you die trying to kill him,
right.
Or but
yeah, because it very much seemed like he was in an unwinnable state at the end of John Wick 2. So I thought like, all right, they're gonna wrap this thing up, trilogy, but they might just continue to milk it.
Jeez. Well, now he's doing Matrix again.
What?
They're making another Matrix movie.
Because they didn't ruin it with the he died. Didn't he die?
He's coming back. I don't know if I've even seen the third one.
I thought he was dead at the end of the third one.
I believe you're right.
He didn't have eyeballs at the very least. I don't understand that.
I hate when they just kill the series. Let's put a fourth out. No, you were good at 2. Let's just be done.
What is that movie anyway anymore? Because like the Matrix was such a big thing because of the technology where it was in that state, where now it's like nothing is surprising. There's nothing left to imagine technology wise.
I also watched the newest Godzilla movie, which, to be honest, like I don't care about those that much, but I was more engaged and entertained by that movie than I was with John Wick 3, which kind of says something. So, yeah. I mean, basically watching two disposable action films back to back. I don't know. I'd put my money on Godzilla.
Godzilla versus John Wick? Yeah, I would take that bet.
Well, circling back to gaming a little bit, getting away from like action movies, Nate and I, after the last recording, got together and played some Overcooked 2 together at our buddy's place, CJ, over at Replay Games. We went there and hung out, and after playing Overcooked, never having
We're
played
no
it
longer
before,
friends.
and then playing it with Nate, I looked over at him about 30 minutes in, and I was like, "Have you ever worked food service?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "All right, like."
He was
I can
he was
see
the
that.
biggest
Like, we're gonna
jerk
figure this
ever.
out.
Like we would.
You're terrible.
That's exactly what he would do. He would just sit there and he's like, "Man, you suck. You are so bad." And I'm like, "Hey, we're on the same team. We're gonna do this together. You need to build me up a little bit." And you're like, "Oh my gosh, why do we suck so bad?" And it's just all because of me. That game is so frustrating.
Once we planned and defined roles, though, we did pretty well. Like, we just needed a little bit of time to figure out each other's strategies.
And typically it was just throwing food at each other. And that's what we're going to do. Here's a plate.
Yeah. That is a couch co-op game very much made to like punch the person next to you, because it is that for us.
What a lot of fun. Like it was, we went, what, 3 hours with it?
Yeah. We got to World 3, right?
3 something.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we,
it was really cool.
So CJ hasn't reached out to us, so I'm just assuming that we're still the record holders. So we'll just embrace that.
We made it to the leaderboard by default for everyone listening. We were the only people to complete.
Why do you got to
3
tell
stages
everybody?
or 4
Why you got to
stages
tell
that he
everybody?
had.
Just
Well, I just being honest, we set the bar pretty low with our initial score. So, and CJ was like, "Dude, you guys can go back. You guys are the first ones on it. You can go back and like better your scores." I'm like, "We barely made it through that stage with the skin of our teeth. I am not revisiting this."
I'd play it again. I definitely would.
Moving on. Oh yeah, I want to do it with 4 people for sure.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I will never touch that game again.
Have you ever played it with your wife?
Now you're over it.
Yes, that's
you
why
guys are
I
still
will never
together.
play it
That's
again.
amazing. Congratulations.
It's surprising.
For anybody that needs like marriage
It's surprising.
counseling, they just like sit down and work it out together here.
Or a divorce, because it's going one way or the other.
Yeah, that's it started off and we're like, oh yeah, this is not bad, but man, it gets a little crazy, especially when the platform that you're on is shifting around and different like warp walls or whatever. It gets pretty out of hand.
Gets
Yeah, because there's
intense.
always like somebody like sitting there like, oh, I don't really have anything to do because I'm stuck over here, and the other person is just like flooded
Yeah, that was
with
me.
stuff. And you're, like,
I did nothing.
just yelling at them.
Yeah. Well, then Nate was like very literal on the like recipe board. I'm like, don't worry about the goddamn like turkey stroganoff with beef. Like, fucking get that shrimp out. Like, the order doesn't matter. Like, complete dishes. Fuck that guy. And so, like, once we figured that out,
It really stressed me out, like someone with some OCD. I was like, I feel like I need to make their order and make them happy.
Like, you don't have steak? Fry up that shrimp. We're good.
This isn't that type of restaurant. You don't get to
No.
pick what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played well on the
Exactly.
Switch. I played, I think it was first Overcooked on PlayStation, maybe. Yeah, PS4. And it was one of those monthly games. And it was fun, but playing it by yourself, it's probably more overwhelming playing by yourself because it's like, I can't get all this stuff. You're running some of those maps, you're running quite a ways to grab some food. And so 2 players was a little bit easier to manage. Still sucked and everyone hated each other and, you know, whatever. But 4 players, I bet you, is just chaos. I think that would be fun.
Yeah. I think it'd be worth trying. It's an experiment I want to go through for sure. cool.
Maybe
games.
with 4 players, you'll be like more dedicated to 1 or 2 jobs, though, or not?
Yeah, but I feel like it's going to scale up the difficulty, right? Like I feel like the complexity of the recipes is going to scale, and then like I feel like you'd be more apt to like have the chaos of people running around those levels where it walls you off, and then like realizing that all 4 of you got stuck in the same section, and then just people getting pissed. Like,
it could be fun.
Just like that pizza oven level with Nate and I, like, oh my god, I was so mad. Like, no, you get on the other side of those freaking floating
you
tables.
you really
ridiculous.
just kind of jump from line cook to manager very quick, and you were on a power trip. But it was so much fun.
I'd like to say it's due to my restaurant experience. Yeah,
I think we need to hit replay games, all of us, and try to tackle that again. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Do you think Gordon Ramsay has ever played that game?
Oh my gosh!
I mean, I feel like it's based around him.
That
right?
controller is gonna meet a TV very quickly. Guys already got anger issues.
Yeah,
that's part of your entry.
It was cool to finally play that. Like, you know, you heard about Overcooked for years, like is like what a great indie game it was and couch co-op game, and definitely is. Definitely great.
It's something.
Man, are you that bitter towards this game?
Well, I'm not great at it. My wife let me know.
So she called you out?
Maybe next time we all get together, I'll play with Amanda, and we'll see how the 2 head chefs in the kitchen do playing that game, Andy, and see if
I'll be your partner.
Battle it out.
Yep. We're gonna go. They'll go set the score, and then we'll work at it, and we'll beat them.
I bet you Andy.
The reality is I would probably be awful too, and like Amanda would just be like ripping me a new asshole. Like, Andy, you're up. Go back.
I guarantee you, Andy wouldn't yell at
me. Yeah,
me.
she was being nice to me because I was her husband.
Yeah, I'm just some asshole who makes her husband do a podcast every couple of weeks. I'll get no mercy. All right, so moving on, we're going to start doing things a little bit differently with the end of the podcast. It may not always be the failbag. We still love the failbag, and we're certainly going to revisit that. But we thought it would be fun, Nate, Andy, and I, to put Nate on the spot a little bit. So for those of you who may not know, Nate's video game knowledge kind of went from Nintendo, Super Nintendo to Switch. So we give him a lot of crap about all the amazing stuff that he missed in our glorious hobby. And kind of give him crap for being a fake gamer. So we're going to call this segment #FakeGamer. And we are going to quiz Nate on some very heavy-hitting video game titles and just see how many he gets right. We'll see how he does. Andy can jump in and try and steal if Nate gets it wrong, but we'll go through this. I've taken this quiz. I did not get all of them right, so maybe I'm a fake gamer too, but we're going to go through it.
I think this podcast has prepared me. You know, sometimes during our discussions, you won't hear much from me because I'm just taking it all in. It's like a class for me, and I'm taking notes. So I'm ready for this.
You ready for this now? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's like longer descriptions, but I think for the sake of the podcast, we're just going to skip the longer description. If you're stumped, I'll read that so you can say, read more, let me know. So question number 1, and these are multiple choice, so it shouldn't be too bad for you. This game has sold over 90 million copies to date. Your choices are Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Grand Theft Auto 5, Need for Speed Most Wanted, and LA Noire.
Well, I feel like those are all great games. I've played none of them. I'm going to say Grand Theft 5. That's a pretty
All right.
popular game. That's a big deal.
Is that your answer?
Yeah.
Okay, you got it. Good for you.
Of course I
One
did.
for one. Question 2.
Man, that's
This
weird.
one
That's praise from Ryan.
This one you should
Typically,
get.
he's yelling at me.
Only in Overcooked. And Byron Byrne.
That's so all the time.
Most of the time. Question 2. Yoshi's debut game. Mario Brothers 2, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario 64, or Super Mario World?
Super Mario World, I think.
Okay, 2 for 2.
I think.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Good
Wasn't
job.
he supposed to be in another game prior
Yoshi?
to Super Mario World? Yeah, was it?
And there's other stuff.
I feel like
Yoshi's
he was
Cookies.
intended to be in another game on the NES.
3. He was supposed to be in 3.
But
they wanted him in 3.
3. Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. Man, I'm on a roll, guys.
I have a feeling this question is going to throw
Hashtag
you.
real gamer.
This is going to prove that you're a hashtag fake gamer. Question 3. Last year, this franchise returned to its gaming roots. Medal of Honor World War II, Company of Heroes, Call of Duty World War II, or Battlefield 1942.
All great games. All great game, guys.
Have you played any of them?
No. But I'm sure they're great games, guys. What are the 3 choices?
4. Medal of Honor World War II. There's Company of Heroes. That's the second option. Call of Duty World War II. And then there is Battlefield 1942. On a 2s.
Yeah, it's definitely the Call of Duty for sure.
Sly Dog. All right.
Nice.
3 for 3.
Yeah.
3 for 3. Question number 4. The best-selling game for the Xbox. Halo 2. Halo Combat Evolved. Halo Wars. Resistance Fall of Man.
So I just found out there's more than one Halo.
It's funny they couldn't have gotten like another Halo game. Just make them all Halos.
That's
but
amazing. I can't distinguish between any of these. Andy, what do you think?
I think it's a Halo, one of the Halos.
I think
Considering
you're right.
the other one's a PlayStation.
I was going to say, I don't think Resistance came out for Xbox. Little help.
Was Halo 2 an option?
That was an option, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that feels good. Let's go with that one.
All right. 4 for 4. I think he might have Googled that. I saw him looking at a computer screen over there.
You want to know how I got through school? Exactly this way.
All right,
Pure luck.
We're on to question 5, Nate. Often cited as the greatest game of all time. Elder Scrolls 5.
We're not talking about Bubsy again.
It's Bubsy,
So
of
just
course. So Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and Hyrule Warriors. You fucking kidding me right now?
Wait, what's the question?
Greatest game of all time. Often cited as.
Oh. What was the first option?
What's that you're cutting out?
What was the first option?
The options, the first one, it was Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim.
I think I've played.
You bought it for the Switch.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't like that, but I let you go with it anyway.
I clearly remember that day. This is before I met you guys, right?
We had just kind of started hanging out. Like I remember you like putting that on Twitter though, and like all excited that you picked it up. And I think I talked to you in person like 5 days later, and you're like, "Yeah, that's not a thing I want to play."
This guy, I was trying to find a game, and I can't even remember what I originally grabbed. And this guy goes, No, you don't want to play that. This is the game you want to play, Skyrim. I was like, what kind of game is it? He's like, man, it's open world. It's the best. And so he got me all excited. And I got home, and it was just it was sad. It was just a sad, sad game. So I'm going to say the greatest game of all time, Zelda Breath of the Wild. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious.
Andy, would you like to steal?
No.
My opinion would be Skyrim on that list, but
Really?
I think so.
What is your actual
just
guess?
was like awful game.
Ocarina of Time.
It is, of course, Ocarina of Time.
Really?
I disagree with that wholeheartedly, and I would put Breath of the Wild above it, but I understand.
I mean, the Nintendo 64 is so much superior than everything, right? Isn't that what Ocarina of Time's on?
64, yeah.
Yeah. Ryan, wouldn't you agree with that?
Hashtag FakeGamer confirmed. So you got one wrong. Yeah, you're 4 for 5.
Well, we knew it. I had the right answer, though.
Yeah, this is a really dumb one. I don't even know if I would get this. Question 6. This popular mobile game can be played with one finger. Subway Surfers, Temple Run,
Calculator on there?
Sonic Dash, or Hill Climb Racing.
I don't know any of these. With
I don't know
one
that
finger?
Mobile games tie into being a real gamer, but one finger.
Yeah.
Which one?
Calculator. Internet Explorer.
Aren't most mobile games played with one finger?
Right.
I would say the Sonic one, I think.
Incorrect. Andy, would you like to steal?
I've never played. The only two I played is the Temple Dash and the Sonic one, which are the exact same game. So if Sonic's not it, then Temple Dash or
Temple
Run.
Run.
But don't you just swipe left, right, left, right?
Pretty
I thought
much.
so, yeah.
So Temple Run is the correct answer in this case. So Andy's got 2.
But Sonic Dash
you're a
is
real
the same
gamer.
game.
Right. It
Temple
is
Run.
only a one-button game. I completely agree. So question
Also
number
got
7.
that one right.
This is getting more intense. You can
That's
square
not
off
intense.
with an opponent using your favorite DC characters. DC characters, keep that in mind. Mortal Kombat X, Tekken 7, Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, or Injustice 2.
Trying to figure out who's DC. Is that Spider-Man? No, is he a Marvel guy? Captain America? I think he's a DC guy.
No.
Is DC Batman?
Fake comic book nerd.
And this one does have a photo with it, which this one's kind of hard to answer given like what they've listed, but
I'll say Mortal Kombat versus DC. Just because
that is
that was in the
incorrect.
title.
Andy, would you like to steal?
That's not
That's
right.
a dumb question.
It is really dumb. Would you like to steal?
Well, Injustice is DC only.
Right. So you got it. So it's 3 to 4 then with Andy stealing Injustice 2.
I was going to go.
But I
for
failed.
that one.
But again, this I cheated a little bit because I led into the DC to drive Nate astray.
That's true.
And there
You're
is a
jerk.
photo, like a screenshot of the game to help make this decision for you. But it still proves our point that Nate is a hashtag fake gamer. So,
But you could technically play DC versus DC in the Mortal Kombat game. So I don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
These
Stupid.
questions.
Gosh,
I don't
I
know.
got another one right, guys.
You got it wrong. It didn't count. So question number 8. Andy could come back and tie this up if you could steal this one. You desperately search for a cure in the world overrun by cannibalistic humans. Is it The Last of Us, The Evil Within, Beyond Two Souls, or Until Dawn?
Yeah, all great games again.
How many of them have you played?
Yep, all great games. Real good. I've seen some stuff on them. Really good ones. I especially love the ending on some of those. Really good ones.
Yep.
Cannibalistic. Last of Us, because we were talking about it earlier, and I feel like that's what you were hinting towards.
So what is your pick then?
Last of Us.
Last of Us. Okay. That is correct.
I knew it.
So you're 5 out of 8 right now.
Oh, that's passing.
All right. Oh, I like the way this one was phrased. Question number 9. This monster hunter is desperately searching for his missing daughter. Is it The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Dragon Age Inquisition, Divinity Original Sin, or Torchlight?
These are all real games that were released.
All real games. To be fair, I would not get this one right probably. So if you get it right, it'll be amazing.
What was the first choice? Because I feel like that's the only one I've heard before.
Which one?
What was the first option?
There's The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and then there's Dragon Age Inquisition, Divinity Original Sin, and Torchlight.
Definitely Witcher 3.
Witcher 3?
Yeah, 100%.
That is correct, Nate. Good for you.
I feel like I'm more of a gamer than you think.
Or you're really good at multiple choice.
Really good at figuring out patterns.
Okay, question.
Well, technically that question was wrong.
Was it wrong?
Yeah, she's not born to him. But he just plays like a fatherly role, kind of.
That doesn't matter. You can adopt kids and love them just the same, Andy.
I don't know if adoption is a thing in this. I don't know. Maybe it's like survival adoption.
He cared for a stray child, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, you might have to go revisit Witcher 3 again.
Yeah. Why don't you play through it all?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I don't have 120 hours to figure that out. Question number 10. An epic quest to defeat Alduin? I don't know. The World Eater?
It's pronounced Alduin.
Oh, okay, thank you. Hashtag Real Gamer. The choices here: World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, Dark Souls, and Fallout New Vegas.
Okay, what am I looking for in this question?
Your choices for this question are World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, Dark Souls, and Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, Dark Souls. 100%.
Okay. You've played the game.
Andy, would you like to steal?
I'm pretty sure it's Skyrim.
It is Skyrim. So
yeah. Good job, Andy.
3. Nate's still doing pretty well. I like this one. This is really just a lame description. Question number 11, Nate. It's like Indiana Jones for the PlayStation. It's not even a question. Tomb Raider, Infamous, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, and Heavy Rain.
Yeah, I'm going to say, just because this movie is so great, Tomb Raider.
That is incorrect. Andy, would you like to steal?
Angelina Jolie.
That's kind of a dumb question, too, because Tomb Raider... That's
is literally
pretty much
Indiana Jones.
It's... I mean, Uncharted wouldn't be...
But it's not exclusive to the PlayStation.
Okay.
So what's your pick then?
Oh, it's Uncharted then. But
right, it is Uncharted too.
Well, how come you're helping him out and you weren't helping me out?
So by the transitive property, it's Tomb Raider.
So Nate is at, was it put him at 6 then? Because you're up to 4. We're on to question 12. You should get this one. Take down giant machines with projectiles. Actually, these answers make this hard. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, Horizon Zero Dawn, or For Honor.
I'm going to go with Horizon Zero Dawn.
Nailed it.
I love that game. I actually played that game. I love it.
I like it too. Not as much as Breath of the Wild. So you're at 6. No. Or 7 out of 12. That's pretty good. You're still...
I feel like my score's going down.
You're still above 50%.
I feel like it was much higher.
So what makes Horizon Zero Dawn so much better than like Skyrim? Like is it like the medieval compared to...
I don't care for the like first person view.
Sure.
That kind of bugs me. And so just seeing like arms, and so I got really hung up on that. And then I think just not really knowing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
even though it is an open world where you kind of have that freedom. I went through the opening scene where you're running away from prison or something like that, if I vaguely remember. And then after that, where it was kind of, okay, do this, do this, do this.
Like,
then after that, it's like,
there's nothing.
What am I supposed to do? And I think I got a little overwhelmed.
I can see that.
Sorry.
All right. Question 13. In this game, you die a lot. Is it Final Fantasy 15, Dragon's Dogma, The Witcher, or Dark Souls?
All great games again.
Meaning he's played none of them. We're figuring Nate out here. Buying time.
Dark Souls? I feel like you would die in a game that has that title a lot. Kind of darkish. Yeah, Dark Souls.
So you got that correct. It is Dark Souls. You are up to 8 of 13. So question 14. A popular puzzle platformer game. Tetris, Minecraft, Portal 2, or Half-Life?
Ugh. Tetris isn't a platformer.
Puzzle platform game.
Oh, puzzle platform.
The meaning platformer, like, right?
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the ER, a puzzle platform game. So there are platforms in it. Tetris, Minecraft, Portal 2, or Half-Life?
I'm going to go with Tetris.
Andy, would you like to steal?
What? This is garbage. I hate this game.
I mean, the only other puzzle game would be Portal.
Right. Portal 2 is technically what they listed. But yes, yeah.
Isn't that like a first person whatever?
It's a puzzle game in first person view, yeah. It's really good for what it's worth.
It's just as much a shooter as it is a platformer, but
yeah. So where was he at? Was he at 8, right? 8, because you got 5? Yes.
I think it was roughly, what question are we on?
I don't know. 14?
Yeah, I think I got about 13 of them.
Oh, okay. Nailed it. We'll just go with you were at 8, I think. Or was he at 9? No.
It just keeps on going down.
You were at 9 because Andy has 5 points now, I think. Hold on. Let me just double check. I'll go back through the list.
Brandon, we need your help.
Yes, Brandon, listen to this. Tell us where we screwed up. So you got 1 right, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Are these all PlayStation questions? 8. Is this coming across dumb? Are all these games on PlayStation except for Skyrim?
I don't know. 8. So you get 8. 8 out of 14. This one you should get Super Nintendo Classic. This is funny because this is funny because this has a picture, and I've kind of been making this harder on you because I haven't been showing the pictures. But literally, the question is a Super Nintendo Classic: Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong's Quest, Donkey Kong Racing, or Donkey Kong 64. Figure that one out, fucker. Here's the screenshot.
Looks like a 64
Well, it's all
game.
blurry, but it looks like a Donkey Kong Country.
And you are correct. Question number 9 answered through a blurry phone
picture.
Through a webcam. All right. See, you're on lock with like the old school stuff. You get that.
So this segment is going to die after this because I think I just proven everybody wrong.
I know. We can't have a hashtag FakeGamer if you answer more of these right.
I'm rising above. I'm rising above, being tenacious.
9 right so far. Let's go on to question 16. Fight against the Templars on the open seas. Is it Assassin's Creed 2, Watch Dogs, Sea of Thieves, or Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag?
This is Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
God, that's so definitive for a guy who's never played an Assassin's Creed game. And you are correct. That's question 10. You got right.
I think I remember reading something about Templars and pirates, or the president? I don't know.
You watching?
I don't know what's going on.
Is this like Illuminati shit you're going into?
If you fold the dollar bill just right, it leads you to the treasury. So you better not get this one wrong. We're all scarred for life. Question 17. It's like GTA, but in the Old West. Is it Oregon Trail, Call of Juarez, Red Dead Revolver, or Red Dead Redemption?
I'm going to go with Red Dead Redemption.
Correct. You're up to
Not
11.
the way I played Oregon
Played the
Trail.
crap out of that game.
Yeah, it wasn't a redemption arc for this podcast, that's for sure. Question 18. Free humanity from the alien Combine. Half-Life 2, Bioshock 2, Fallout 3, Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. All great titles here. I feel like aliens? I feel like they all have them. All of the games do. So it's a trick question. And I'm going to go with Bioshock. I think that's some kind of alien Minecraft-esque game.
That's your pick then, Bioshock 2?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Andy, would you like to steal?
Can you state the question again?
Yep. Free humanity from the alien Combine.
Alien Combine. What were they again?
So we know Bioshock 2 is wrong. Your choices are Half-Life 2, Fallout 3, and Left 4 Dead.
Half-Life.
Correct. Correct.
Good job, Andy.
Number 19. The massively
19.
popular online role-playing game. Is it Overwatch, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, or Heroes of the Storm? All great games.
That's definitely no. I know about these ones. It's definitely WoW.
It is
for
WoW.
sure.
Congrats, 12 right out of 19.
Guys, this is good.
Question 20.
Now you're proud to
falls
have me
within
on the
your-
podcast.
This falls within your realm here. Question 20. Mario explores the real world with his magical cap. I'm not even going to give you the answers. Just tell me what the game is.
That's Odyssey.
Yes.
Odyssey.
That is correct. You got 13 out of 20. Jesus, how long is this quiz? I'm still going here.
That actually that question reminds me. I kind of fell in the trap of watching reaction videos when the Switch was being released and different directs were happening, and I clearly remember this guy. I wish I could call him out because it was so ridiculous. The screen pops up, Mario Odyssey, and he's losing his mind. He's like, "Oh my gosh, it's Mario!" And he couldn't pronounce Odyssey, and he was like, "Odyssey?" And I was like, "Oh no, man." You just ruined this whole thing.
Hey,
sorry. Continue.
One man's Odyssey is another man's regime. So, there you go. We're going to stop at 20. I can't keep this going on. We've been at this quiz just continues to go. So, hashtag FakeGamer. Nate did surprisingly well, answering 13 out of 20 questions correct, which is a 65. Which it's a D. I mean, technically,
hey,
that's not an
D's
F.
get degrees.
That is
D's get degrees.
It's not a saying they say unless you work in a strip club, but it is not an F. So congratulations, my friend.
Hey, thank you. I just really want to thank the Academy and for all those people that supported me, and just just want to thank my thumbs for keeping me gaming.
Well done. Great speech. I'm going to find some more challenging questions for you next time. Andy and I are going to dig deep into the internet and just find things to really rack your brain. I feel like this is too easy.
It was way too easy. I mean, 90% of it had no idea what you were talking about, but it was way easy.
That's all that matters.
So, Mr. Hashtag, do you want to do your last spiel?
Yes. Hey, we'd love to hear from you guys. Just like Brandon sending us those statistics. If there's ever anything that you ever want to send us, or just thoughts on the podcast, we'd love to hear from you.
Or maybe
you
you guys want to send like some questions to Nate to test his hashtag FakeGamer skills. Just throwing it out there.
That's great. Throw me some questions. I'm not scared of them. I'm pretty smart.
As he says with confidence.
I'm 63% smart. So
Regime.
Yeah. Send those questions. Send your thoughts to weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you're following us on all social medias, Twitter, Facebook, as well as YouTube. You can catch a lot of stuff there. And of course, you can find all things Weekend Rental at weekendpodcast.com, as well as geekade.com. And as always, be kind, rewind.
BBC.
Got the beaties.
Bananas.